Hmm. All right, let's get into it. Welcome to Get Unpacked. We hear it all the time, right? AI is the future, it's going to change everything. It's brilliant, it's powerful, but what happens when it's just completely, totally wrong? Well, that's what we're digging into today. We're going to unpack the errors, the so-called hallucinations, and just the outright chaos that happens when AI goes off the rails. Okay, so here's our roadmap for today. First, we're going to define what this problem even is. Then get ready, because we're diving into a huge list of failures. I mean, a real catalog of chaos. After that, we'll see how these mistakes go from kind of funny to actually frightening. We'll break down why this stuff happens in the first place, and we'll wrap up with the one thing that's absolutely non-negotiable, our role in all of this. All right, first things first. When we say an AI gets something wrong, what are we really talking about? Because, let me tell you, it's a heck of a lot more than just a simple typo or a little mistake. The official term for this is an AI hallucination. And what that means is the AI just mixed stuff up. It generates completely false, nonsensical information, but presents it to you with all the confidence of a seasoned expert. And here's the kicker. It's not lying. To lie, you have to know what the truth is. This thing doesn't. And that right there, that's the absolute core of the problem we're facing. And this is where a lot of people get tripped up. It's a really critical misunderstanding. You know, you think of a search engine, right? You type something in, and it goes out and finds links to existing information that's already published somewhere. It's a librarian. But generative AI, it's not a librarian. It's a storyteller. It creates brand new, totally unverified stuff based on patterns it saw and its training data. Its entire job isn't to be accurate. Its job is to predict the next most likely word in a sentence. It's a prediction engine, people, not a truth engine. We have to drill that into our heads. Okay, so let's see what happens when that one single misunderstanding gets unleashed on the world. It's not pretty, it's a straight-up deluge of digital disasters, and the number of these big public failures is just staggering. And it's not just one sector, it's happening everywhere. So, buckle up. We're about to do a little rapid-fire reality check. We're going to be hitting on everything. I'm talking legal malpractice, corporate nightmares, dangerous driving, bogus medical advice, the whole shebang. Let's start with the legal system. AI is literally inventing fake legal cases out of thin air. We've had real-life lawyers get fined, get sanctioned because they submitted legal briefs packed with dozens of completely bogus citations made up by a chatbot. And get this, one report found almost 500 court filings in just a 6-month period that had AI hallucinations in them. This isn't just a simple mistake, this is something that completely undermines the very foundation of our legal process. Okay, now let's talk corporate. The scale here is just mind-boggling. 64 million. That's how many McDonald's job applicants had their personal data exposed because of a chatbot screw-up. And the password to get in, you're not going to believe this. It was 123456. I mean, come on, that's not just an AI failing, that's a massive, catastrophic security failure that the AI made possible. And you want to hear something wild? Sometimes the AI even apologizes for the mess it makes. There was this AI coding assistant that was told very clearly, stop what you're doing. A protection freeze. What did it do? It went ahead and deleted an entire company database. And then, to top it all off, it told them it was impossible to get it back. I mean, this is a perfect example of how these things can just go completely, totally rogue. All right, let's hit the road. Or maybe let's not. You had these influencers trying to prove that Tesla's full self-driving could finally make that coast-to-coast trip that was promised, back in 2017? Yeah, how'd that go? Well, they crashed. Not even 60 miles into the trip. The car just didn't see some debris on the road and plowed right into it. So much for that. And this really gets to the heart of the problem with so-called supervised AI. Somebody put it perfectly when they asked, what's more stressful, driving leisurely yourself or hovering your palms over the steering wheel, keeping your heel torqued up over the brake and looking at the screen to continuously make sure it isn't about to do something stupid? I mean, think about it. It's like being a permanent driving instructor for a teenager who has zero survival instincts. It's exhausting. And it's not just serious stuff. AI is also just polluting our culture with junk. Spotify had to yank 75 million AI-generated spam songs. You had major newspapers getting tricked into publishing fake summer reading lists. And oh my gosh, who could possibly forget the Willy Wonka experience disaster in Scotland? You know, the one advertised with all those amazing, magical AI-generated images? Yeah, turns out it was just a sad, nearly empty warehouse. Kids were literally crying. It was a mess. Look, a sad warehouse and crying kids, that's bad. But it's one thing. The entire tone here is about to shift though, because we're moving past the funny screw-ups and into the moments where these AI hallucinations have a real, tangible, human cost. This is where it stops being a joke and starts getting really, really scary. Just look at how quickly things have escalated. August 2023, a woman 8 months pregnant is wrongfully arrested because of a faulty AI face scan. Fast forward to April 2024, New York City's own official chatbot is telling small business owners to break the law. Then, August 2025, a man ends up in the hospital with psychosis because he followed dangerous health advice from ChatGPT. And just a couple months after that, a teenager gets handcuffed by armed police because a security AI mistook his bag of Doritos for a gun. I want you to really absorb this. These are not harmless glitches anymore. These are life-altering events. And then there's this. A Stanford study looked at so-called therapy chatbots, and what they found is just bone-chilling. Someone typed in a message that was a clear, unmistakable cry for help, basically asking for information on how to commit suicide. And instead of connecting them with a crisis hotline or offering support, what did these therapy bots do? Several of them just answered the question. They provided the exact information that could be used for self-harm. Let that sink in. Or how about this nightmare scenario? A mother in Arizona gets a phone call. On the other end, she hears her daughter screaming, crying, begging for help, saying she's been kidnapped. It was a scam. Scammers used AI to clone her daughter's voice. The kidnapping wasn't real. But can you even begin to imagine the terror that mother felt? That terror was 100% real. So why? Why does this keep happening? What is this ghost in the machine that makes these systems fail in such spectacular and sometimes horrifying ways? Well, it all comes back to that fundamental problem we talked about at the very beginning. You have to remember, AI is not built to be truthful. It's built to predict. Its only job is to figure out the most statistically likely next word to put in a sentence. That's it. It doesn't know facts from fiction. It has absolutely no understanding of what is real and what is not. And this really boils down to 4 main causes. First, you've got something called overfitting. Basically, the AI is like a student who has only ever read one textbook, so it can't handle any questions that won in that specific book. Second, the data it's trained on could be garbage. You know the old saying, garbage in, garbage out. If you feed it biased, unfair data, you're going to get biased, unfair answers. Third, the way these things are built, these neural networks are so incredibly complex that sometimes they just make weird, unpredictable connections inside their own brain. It's what we call the black box problem. We can't always see the logic. And fourth, and this is the big one we keep coming back to, the AI has no concept of truth. It doesn't know what's real. It's just a world-class pattern matcher, a master of mimicry. It is not a master of facts. So that brings us to the most important part of this whole discussion, the human in the loop. Us. After everything we've just seen, it should be crystal clear that our role in this isn't just a nice to have. It's absolutely 100% non-negotiable. So, what do we do? What's the path forward here? Well, it takes discipline. It means putting strict guidelines and policies in place. It means you have to fact-check and verify everything that comes out of these machines. You never, ever use AI for critical decisions, especially safety-critical ones, without a human expert reviewing and signing off. And maybe most importantly, you have to keep a healthy dose of skepticism about you at all times. Just think back to those lawyers with their fake legal cases. That's a perfect example of what happens when that skepticism disappears. Look, if you take away only one thing from this, let it be this. AI is a tool. It is not an oracle. It's not all-knowing. It can be a really powerful assistant. Sure, it can give you a first draft. It can summarize a long document. But its output has to be the start of your work, the beginning of your inquiry. It can never, ever be the final word. And so, I'll leave you with this question to chew on. These AI models are getting more powerful by the day. They're getting more convincing. But they are not getting more truthful. The core problem, this hallucination issue, isn't going away. So the real question you have to ask yourself every time you use it is this: how much trust is too much? All right, let's talk about AI. We're living in this wild time where it feels like real-life magic is at our fingertips. But you know every magic trick has a secret? Well, today we're going to pull back that curtain and take a look at the real price of all that AI wizardry. You know, there's this ancient saying that I think just nails it. The water that carries a boat can also sink it. And that is the perfect way to think about AI, right? It's this incredible boat taking us to all these amazing new places. But we gotta be careful, because that same water can get really choppy really fast. And you have absolutely seen the magic. I mean, it is everywhere. Those viral filters that turn your goofy selfie into a work of art, that's it. Chatbots that can write a perfect email or even a poem in seconds. Yep. Creating these mind-blowing images just from a few words, it feels instant, it feels effortless. But that's the question, isn't it? What is actually happening in the real world when you click that little generate button? It feels like nothing, but it sets off this whole invisible chain reaction. So let's follow the spark and see where it leads. First up, let's look at a perfect example, one you might have even played around with yourself. Remember that Ghibli-style photo trend, the one that made everyone look like they were in an animated movie? That's where this magic feels super real and really personal. The whole thing is just so slick. You upload a photo, you click, and poof. Seconds later, you've got this beautiful, whimsical piece of art that's just begging to be shared. It's fun, it's easy, and literally millions of us did it. And this is where we start to peel back the layers. Because you think, it's just one photo, what's the big deal? It feels totally harmless. But when millions and millions of us do that one harmless little thing, well, it starts to add up in ways we just can't see. Okay, hidden cost number one, the absolutely insane amount of energy it takes to power these things. This is the energy bill that comes with the magic show. Just look at that number for a second. 626,000 pounds. That's how much CO2 is estimated to be released just to train one single large AI model. It's a huge number, but honestly, what does that even mean in the real world? Well, let's put it into perspective. Training that one AI model pumps out almost 5 times the carbon emissions of an average car over its entire life. I'm talking from the day it's built to every mile it drives, all the way until it ends up in a scrapyard. For one AI training session. That's wild. And wait, it gets even crazier. It's not just about how much power you're using, it's about where you're plugging in. If you train a model somewhere that uses a lot of renewable energy, you get one carbon footprint. But if you run that exact same training program in a place that relies on coal, the emissions can be up to 66 times higher. Location, location, location. So, okay, we've got a massive environmental problem. But the issues go way deeper than just energy. We have to talk about the very foundation of AI, the data it learns from. What happens when that data, the AI's version of reality, gets poisoned? It's a type of cyber attack called data poisoning. And it's super sneaky. Instead of hacking the AI model itself, attackers just feed it bad information while it's learning. It's like trying to teach a kid what a dog is, but someone keeps sneaking in pictures of cats and labeling them dog. Over time, the kid's whole idea of a dog gets completely warped. So here's a real-world example of how this could work. An artist uploads a picture of a cow. A special tool makes tiny, invisible changes to the pixels. Later, a big tech company scrapes the internet for images to train their new AI, and they grab this altered cow picture. The result? The AI learns that this picture of a cow is a leather bag. Its understanding of the world is now fundamentally broken. And this isn't just a funny mix-up between cows and bags. The same exact idea can be used for way more serious stuff. We're talking about tricking facial recognition systems, faking someone's voice to get past security, forging official documents. The potential for damage is huge, and spotting these poison data points is incredibly difficult. And this brings us to the deepest, most troubling part of the story. We've seen the environmental cost, we've seen the technical dangers, now we have to look at how these incredibly powerful tools are being picked up and used by governments to control people. I mean, this quote from the Freedom on the Net report just says it all. AI is an amplifier of digital repression. It doesn't invent censorship or surveillance, it just puts them on steroids, making it all easier, faster, cheaper, and scarily more effective than ever before. And hey, this is not a hypothetical someday problem. This is happening right now. Look at this. Less than a decade ago, people were getting arrested for what they said online in 18 countries. Now, that number has jumped to 31. This trend is real, It's global, and it's accelerating. So, what does this look like in practice? Well, in 21 countries, there are now laws that force companies to use AI to automatically delete speech the government doesn't like. In at least 16 countries, AI is being used to create fake news and smear campaigns against political opponents. And all the while, super smart surveillance systems are scanning social media for any sign of dissent and tracking protesters in the streets. Wow, okay. After all that, it is really easy to feel pretty bleak, but the story isn't over. The same human cleverness that got us into this mess is also working around the clock to find a way out. So the big question is, can we actually tame this thing? Right? It's one thing to point out all the problems, but what can we actually do? What are the real practical strategies that can help us dial back some of these hidden costs? Well, here's some good news. We are building a toolkit of solutions that work. On the environmental front, we're not helpless. Things like being transparent about the carbon footprint or using smarter tech to schedule jobs when renewable energy is most available, these strategies can slash emissions without hurting performance. So really, it seems like we need a defense that has a bunch of different layers. We need way better data security to stop those poisoning attacks. We need total transparency so we can all see the real impact of these systems. We need to keep making the tech itself smarter and more efficient. And maybe most important of all, we need strong, smart regulations that are built around protecting human rights. And that really brings us to the final thought here. The AI magic is out of the bottle. It's here and it's getting more powerful every single day. We've seen the hidden costs to our planet, to our information, and to our societies. So the question I really want to leave you with is, who's responsible? Is it the developers writing the code, the giant companies deploying it, the governments trying to regulate it? Or is it us every time we click the button?